I've got 9 o'clock, so why don't we go ahead and call the meeting to order for the December 13th Tourism Development Council meeting. So if we could start with the invocation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. If y'all join me, please. Bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this opportunity to meet and do the business for tourism in our county. We thank you that our decisions are straightforward, right, and beneficial. We pray that you bless our country, bless our county, bless our cities, bless everybody involved at this time of year, Lord. People generally feel more loving and friendly, but we pray this year it continues on into February, June, July, that we don't lose that feeling. Pray that you bless all our first responders here and abroad. And thank you again for your answered prayers. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could have roll call, please.
Good morning, everybody. For roll call, we've got Mike Engels, Dr. Paresh Desai, Jackie Hepfer, Ken Frink, Luann Jacobs-Wilcott, Michael Mankey, Mike Shoemaker, and Max Schulman.
Okay, hearing that, we have a quorum, so we can proceed. If I could get an approval of the agenda, please.
Move
For motion
approval.
and second.
Second.
So Jackie, followed by Ken. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Similarly, last month's minutes. So approval of the November 8th minutes. If I could get a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so Max, followed by Jackie. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So that passes unanimously as well. I'll give
Keep going.
Ms. Davis a second to settle in.
You know, I got up at 3:30 this morning. You'd think I wouldn't be running behind, but the sheriff kind of T-boned us at the intersection.
Figuratively or literally.
Speaking of, I have to excuse myself just before 10 o'clock to deal with the sheriff issue.
Okay. So next on the agenda is open to the public. If there's anybody that would like to speak, please come up to the platform. You've got 3 minutes. Provide your name and where you live, and the floor is yours. So if there's anybody who would like to speak.
Morning, City Council. I'm Robert Steele, and I'm with Florida Nature Coast Bike Fest. I'm chairman of the Bike Fest, and I just wanted to, and I actually live in Spring Hill, but since the Bike Fest is going to be in Inverness, I felt it necessary to come speak to the Tourism Board. The City of Inverness has already given us permission for the Bike Fest on March 15th through the 17th. I've spoken to the county commissioners, and I thought it very important that I actually come talk to tourism. We are a 501c3 organization. We're not-for-profit. And our 3 main goals is to put on a great event, help charity, and promote tourism within the county. So at that, the 2 charities that we're supporting is Jesse's Place and Citrus County Veterans Foundation. So the big part of the monies that we make will go to those charities. What is left will go to supporting next year's event. We do not take salaries. I work basically 50 to 60 hours a week putting this thing together. And so far it's working out to be a great event. I want to speak mostly about what we're doing for tourism because I know I've only got 3 minutes. The event is the week after Daytona. Most of the people that are involved in Daytona will be at this Bike Fest. Great vendors, we got bands lined up and so forth. What we're doing for tourism, on my website, I actually developed a website. I spoke with Jody and she gave me permission to link up to tourism's website. So on our website, our homepage, we got places to eat, places to drink, places to stay, things to do. All that is linked to tourism's website, to their pages and their information. So, and the other things that we are doing to promote the tourism, we've got it on Facebook. We've got over 4,000 followers. With Bikers Info USA is an app that was developed by a guy in Kentucky, and he's got over 150,000 users on that app. It gives all the bike rallies in the United States, all the national rallies. We contracted, he is a consultant of ours actually, and we gave him, well, he's actually given us printing out a pocket guide like he does in Biketoberfest in Daytona. In Biketoberfest, he actually gave us a full page ad promoting our event. He's doing the same thing with Daytona Bike Week. They're gonna put out 30,000 copies of the Bike Fest to anybody shows up. We are making 3,000, since this is our first event, we're making out 3,000 copies of this just for our event. And it will have tourism's information in there. We'll have the city of Inverness in there. We'll have all the sponsors that are participating in it, all the events. And actually what we're going to do is actually put this on our website, make it a page flip so everybody will be able to see what it's doing. We are contracting with Steve Shordell and Hits 106 and his other 3 stations. He's given us 550, up to about 550.
Sir,
The-
there's a 3-minute limit. Can you, I'll let you wrap it up though. And we actually started the timer quite late.
I'm sorry, that was a fast minute. Anyway, he's doing 550 commercials and live broadcasting at the event. So
Okay.
we've got a lot
Thank
going
you.
on, but I just wanted everybody to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone
Any
else?
comments?
I'd like to make a comment. I will tell you that at the city council meetings, 2 meetings in a row, they grilled these folks pretty seriously. First, because they're going to be in Whispering Pines Park. It's the first time we've done that. And second, because there was some concern about, what crowd do you bring from Daytona? And the city council did an amazing job. And I'm really glad to see
Michael, you're
us.
shaking your head.
I am glad to see us taking a piece of tourism that was happening down in Brooksville and bringing it to Citrus County. So, well done.
Human people. They're bringing human people.
It's okay. He said Bike Fest, and I'm thinking from our former chairman, cycling, not motorcycle, until he held up the brochure. So I'm slow on the uptake. Anybody else for open to the public?
I'll take over after this.
You want to start this? Please.
It started.
Oh, okay. Good morning. My name's Eric Ducharme. Many of you know me, many of you don't. I'm the owner of Taylor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter. I just simply wanted to come in and introduce myself and let many of you know I'm hoping to get more involved with the community. Here at Taylor's Mermaid Encounter, it is one of the only few attractions here in the county. I was born and raised here. We have a public aquarium, educational facility, as well as mermaid shows. We've been open to the public for 2 years, and we are looking forward to working more within the community, trying to figure out how we can co-advertise and collaborate with other companies in the county to try to drive more tourism here to the county. We've been open now 2 years, and we're finding that most of our traffic is all coming from outside of the county. We're capable of bringing between 50,000 to 75,000 visitors to our facility a year. Since the beginning of the year, we've only brought in 26,000 so far. And that's about it. So I just wanted to introduce myself and just telling you all that we're looking forward to working more within the community and whatnot.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes,
Could
Yes.
you repeat the business name again, honey?
that would be Taylor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter in Lecanto off of Highway 44 right next to the Suncoast.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you all.
I've been there numerous times. It's awesome.
Nice.
So it's really worth the trip.
I've heard good things.
Any other questions? Hi, Luann. How are you? Is there anyone else who would like to speak and open to the public? Come on up. You have 3 minutes, watch the clock, please.
Hello, my name is Gloria Whitkus, and I am the Director of Outreach and Education with MEDA, the Manatee Ecotourism Association. I just wanted to touch base with you folks on the unprecedented decrease in tourism, partially due to hurricane and tornado impacts. We've all had the off-season in manatee business and the industry and in our community at large. I just want to know moving forward what you folks are going to be doing primarily to really counteract all this really major impact that we've had on the community.
Thank you. I'm sure that's going to be a topic of some discussion today, actually. We're aware of the numbers and they're not good. Would anyone like to make any comments on that before we go on to Miles? Okay. I am, any other open to the public? No? Alrighty, Miles Partnership. Been looking forward to this. Are they online or here?
They're online.
Okay.
Well, wait, we've got a couple Miles and we've got Chad and we've got somebody else, so. That's okay.
Awesome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear us?
Yes, this Liz in the upper right-hand corner, she's our account manager, and Sam in lower left, she's the all-around gal Friday for our account. And Maria on the far right lower corner, also with Miles. The other two guys, hold on a second.
It's like Hollywood Squares.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, guys.
Awesome. I am going to share my screen, so hopefully you all can see this okay. Can you all give me a thumbs up if you can see it?
Got it.
Good.
Awesome. So I'm going to start the slideshow. Let me move you all around so I can see the presentation. Awesome. How's everybody doing this morning?
Great.
Wonderful.
Good. Well, we're really excited to be here with you all today. Sorry we're not there in person. Hopefully we can be there in person, and looking forward to meeting with you all soon. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the media strategy for Citrus County, talk a little bit about some of the areas of focus, dig into some of the media tactics, and then talk about some of the fun stuff with creative as well, and some of the supporting points and target audiences that we want to make sure that we're highlighting for your destination. So we'll do a little housekeeping here at the front end and talk a little bit about who Miles is. I know some of you are probably familiar with us, but for those of you that aren't, want to make sure you know who we are. We are a strategic marketing consultancy that specializes exclusively in travel and tourism. We work with 130 destinations around the world. Citrus County is our favorite. Don't tell our other 129 clients, but we're really excited to be working with you all. Sam and I had a great immersion trip there at the end of October and got to experience your county and enjoy a lot of the destinations around the county and attractions, and just had a heck of a time and a blast. So thank you for hosting us. We really enjoyed it. And so for us, you know, we really do not consider ourselves just marketers. We consider ourselves problem solvers. And so what we want to do for you guys is really make sure that we're aligning innovation and creative ideas and bringing those into really strong tactical strategy. And so what that means is we will identify and target opportunities specifically for your destination. We will help you amplify your brand and reach in really creative ways, and then also help the county develop some of those strategic partnerships. And talking about those partnerships, that's something at Miles I think that we do really well and is something that sets us apart. And we're really proud to have a lot of really close relationships and collaboration with some of the best in class vendors in the travel and tourism industry that we can use to leverage on Citrus County's behalf. So some of those here are mentioned on the screen. You may be familiar with those, but they are really strong partners and vendors that we collaborate a lot with in the travel and tourism industry, and look forward to using those on Citrus County's behalf as we move forward. So Terry kind of talked about the team a little bit, but I'll dig a little bit deeper into the people that will be working on your behalf. Jay Salyers is our Senior Vice President. Some of you may know him already. Jay has been around the Florida tourism industry for a long time. So he is our main division lead. You have myself. My name is Liz Maeve. I'm a Senior Account Director. So we'll be helping all things setting strategy. And then you have Sam and Maria, who are also on the call today, that are the main day-to-day leads, as Terry said. And then we have a great dedicated media team for Citrus County. So we have Christine Johnson, who is our Associate Media Director, and Katie Ellingsworth, that are making sure that all of our media is running smoothly and optimized to the best that it possibly can be. So now that we have all the housekeeping stuff over with, let's dig into some of the fun stuff. So talking about some of the areas of focus that we are going to be prioritizing related to media as we move forward with this fiscal year. And so as we dug into some of the work that has been previously done, we highlighted three main areas of focus and priorities that we want to be concentrated on as we get everything kicked off. And so the first is efficiency in programmatic media. And so with programmatic media, you really have the opportunity to optimize across multiple mediums to achieve one common goal. And that is something at Miles that we do really well. We have a dedicated programmatic team that can make sure that we are generating really strong ROI and creating strong engagement for your media. So making sure that we're developing that efficiency is going to be really important. And then also making sure that we have an always-on approach so that we are consistently in front of your audience year-round with the message, so we can get them in the conversion funnel and make sure that Citrus County is top of mind whenever they start travel planning. So making sure that we're having that always-on approach with tactics like social and search. So when they are in that travel planning mindset, the destination is front and center. And then also leveraging content partnerships to showcase and highlight the really specialness of Citrus County and provide an opportunity to share the destination story. And some of those content partnerships, just to give you an example, are things like Condé Nast or Nativo or Atlas Obscura. Those are some of the partners, that we'll be looking at to make sure that we can leverage the destination story in a really unique and special way. So I talked a little bit about programmatic, but let's dig into it a little bit deeper. So as I said, cross-channel optimization is a really important thing with programmatic media. And so we're able to optimize advertising across multiple mediums. So that can include over-the-top TV, native display, and video, and we can make those updates in real time. And so what that means is that we're able to be really efficient and effective with the media that is running for the destination. And so we have enhanced targeting that we can do as well, where we can layer on multiple data sets and partners to make sure that we are reaching the right audiences at the right time. Again, so we can have that really strong ROI and performance for the destination. We have a dedicated programmatic team that has really deep experience in the travel industry and the KPIs that are important to destinations, so we can make sure that we're delivering the strongest results. And so those tactics will run across all of those mediums that we talked about earlier. So OTT, native display, and video, and making sure that we're ramping up for the high season as well, so that we can influence visitation at the points that it is the most important. Paid social. So social is a really great advertising tool for destinations. So with partners like Meta, where we can dig into Facebook and Instagram to where you can really provide advertising across the entire conversion funnel. And so we're able to do things both like generating brand awareness, but also driving conversion and getting people to the destination site. And so we'll employ various tactics, both including prospecting, so reaching new potential travelers through interest and behavioral segments. So we can find those outdoor adventurers or those foodie seekers, or those that are interested in manatees, and make sure that we're serving them our advertising. And then we can also make sure that we're still reaching the people that have engaged with us previously. So we know that they're already interested in the destination. So how do we get them to convert and actually visit? So we can target people that have already visited the destination website. They have engaged with our social channels. Maybe they watched one of our video ads. And so how do we give them another touch point to convince them to arrive in the destination? And so we'll do a mix of those tactics across the board of new audiences and existing audiences in order to drive visitation within the destination. And then let's talk about search engine marketing. Obviously, the goal of search engine marketing is to get those travel intenders that are searching for specific related keywords related to the destination website. And so this will really be concentrated around the top pages of the site. So making sure that we are driving travelers to those high trafficked pages that they are interested in getting more information from, as well as campaigns where we identify conversion goals. Maybe we want the visitors to look at the vacation guide, or we want them to sign up for an e-newsletter, or we want to drive them to partner referrals. We will also set up search campaigns for those, as well as any seasonal specific content. So obviously we know we have manatee season, we have scallop season, but things around the holidays, things like that, we can generate specific campaigns to drive traffic to the site. And again, give those travel intenders the information that they are looking for. So we talked about some of the initial media priorities and tactics. Let's talk a little bit about creative. And so we're really excited to have the opportunity to reposition Discover Crystal River's brand visual identity, as well as the campaign messaging. And so really the goals for that is to just engage with the audience in a compelling and emotional manner, and then really hone in and highlight those unique differentiators that the county has that separates it from the rest of Florida, and how do we encourage that visitation and show travelers what they can experience whenever they are in market. And so how are we going to make that happen? What are some of those support points and audience targeting strategies that we're going to implement? Obviously, highlighting things like manatees, outdoor adventure, wildlife viewing, scallop season, fishing, sort of life on the water mentality, arts and culture, and then obviously the fish to fork culture and food and drink. And so really looking at it through the lens of vintage Florida and really capitalizing on that manatee capital of the world tagline that has already been used and is well known. But the really important thing for that is we want to make sure that the creative messaging aligns with the target audiences that we are trying to reach. And so here's a breakdown of some of the audiences that we're going to be actively messaging to. So obviously reaching those family travelers, road trippers, those with outdoor adventure seekers, and then also those active retiree nature lovers, making sure that we have messaging specific to them and that the creative is reflective to each of those audiences as well as those are built out. And so that's all I have to share with you today. I definitely would love to open it up for any questions or thoughts. I'm happy to answer anything that you guys might want a little more information about.
Thank you for that. I'm Holly Davis. I'm the chair, and if you probably heard, I own an ad agency, right? You did hear
Awesome.
that. So, and
Lovely.
I'm a creative
Yeah.
director. So when are you going to show us the goods? I can't wait to see the new creative.
We are very excited to show you the goods. We actually have a meeting with the Discover Crystal River team this afternoon to show them our first initial walkthrough of some of the creative. So we have 2 concepts to show them. And so hopefully they love one of them. And at your next meeting, we can show you some of the stuff.
Oh, I may have to just accidentally on purpose be over at BCB.
Be over at the meeting today.
Unfortunately, my larger role as a county commissioner seems to be eating my life today, so I may not be able to be there. But I can't
can
wait.
send you some
I can't wait to see it. We have a real problem with our tourism operators crying right now on what their sales are doing. We really need to, it's may not be quite a full-on emergency, but it's getting pretty damn close. So what are we going to do to really try to rectify the situation? There's multiple pain points. We had big interruption this summer because of the former employee and having to redo issues. We're 2 staff members down. I could certainly volunteer to lend a hand, except I just don't have the bandwidth. So I'm going to try to get more activist on this and do what I can to help drive this through. But then we got hit with a hurricane, which unfortunately there was a lot of misinformation that we were wiped out in the hurricane. We weren't. And then we got the tornado with the double whammy. So the only legit issue we have is that the seagrass beds were basically mown down, not destroyed, but mown down by the hurricane. So what are you going to do?
Yeah,
And when?
absolutely. I think that.
And when? Sorry for the blunt talk, but I now have to, I don't know if you heard this, but I have to excuse myself well before the end of this meeting. So I wanted to just jump right in and say what's, I think, on everyone's mind. Yes?
Sure.
Yes?
I have,
Okay.
I have one other thing.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Max.
You know, we define our audience to include the residents of the county. We have a lot of folks that are concerned about the pace of change and also about the truth in the way we represent ourselves. We want to be truthful because we think we have good things, and we don't want to be homogenized. So hopefully those will be factored in, because they hold us accountable, and for every person that's sitting here, there's 1,000 somewhere else that do. So we hope those will be factors. And also, in this county, most everybody speaks pretty plain English. So every industry, every community has its jargon. But for example, if you say KPI, it's great if you talk about what are key performance indicators. And hopefully that's something y'all are going to be talking about this afternoon, because on this board, we've been concerned about developing meaningful metrics and not just, you know, continuing to count hits or visits on the website. We want really meaningful indicators.
Samantha, do you want to tease a little bit about the data capture that we're about to embark on?
I'll
Liz?
definitely
Yeah.
jump in. Yeah, so that's definitely been part of the conversation that we have had with the Discover Crystal River team. And so we have met with a couple of vendors over the past couple of weeks that specialize in what is called sort of like business intelligence. And what that does is it is really able to track things beyond, like you're saying, just website visits, beyond advertising engagement. And what that is able to do is it's really able to track economic impact. And so we're able to look at things like visitor flow with like geolocation tracking. We are able to put actual dollars spent in market tied to advertising campaigns. So you're really able to dig a layer deeper and really provide attribution to what the advertising is doing to the actual destination itself. And so we have selected one of those partners. Their name is Zydeco. They are specialized in the destination and tourism industry. They work with airports, they work with destinations, they work with hoteliers. So they're very well established and very well known. And so we're going to be kicking that off. So we're going to be plugging in some of the tax receipt data. We're going to be looking at short-term rental data that we're able to integrate into that platform as well, to really have a holistic look at how the destination is performing. And obviously, we definitely want to make sure that we are cognizant of, local sentiment as well as part of the advertising. And so that's also a really great thing that Zydeco can do, is it also looks at sort of traveler to visitor ratios, so we can make sure that we're not oversaturating the market and overwhelming the local residents as well. So we can be cognizant of how we're spreading the visitors around the entire county too, to help alleviate some of that pressure and structure that happens.
Excellent.
Awesome. Good. I'm glad that helped. Yeah. And to the original question of, sort of what we are going to be doing sort of in the meantime, obviously we hear you loud and clear, that the numbers are down. And so I think, in my prior life, I worked for Discover Puerto Rico. And so definitely dealt with my fair share of hurricanes and recovery and making sure that we were rebuilding the visitor economy following natural disaster. And so I think one of the things that I've learned is the good news is advertising works and the bad news is advertising works. And so, we just really need to put our foot on the gas in terms of making sure that we're getting the messaging out in market, which we are doing. Advertising is live. We are out there with the message messaging. So making sure that we have that awareness in market, and then those numbers will start to pick back up for sure.
Thank you. Mike, Michael, Luann, Ken, Jackie, anyone?
Yep, my only thought on all this is, are people getting confused because we have Discover Crystal River and then we have Visit Citrus County? You know?
Where do you see that?
Yeah.
Well, under Creative Jacket, connect with the audience by portraying Citrus County in a compelling, emotional manner, but then everything is Discover Crystal River.
Oh, I think I
Sure,
think that was.
yeah.
Go ahead, Liz. Sorry.
Yeah. So Discover Crystal River is the consumer facing name. So that is everything that the consumers are going to be seeing. So any of the advertising, obviously the website is Discover Crystal River. So anything that is reflected in terms of the tourism marketing is going to be under the name Discover Crystal River. Obviously the contract is with Citrus County. So, I think we look at it as sort of Citrus County doing business as Discover Crystal River, but want to make sure that the entire county feels reflected and represented across the advertising as well.
And the way, whenever we put the logo out, it's with Inverness, Floral City, and
Correct.
Homosassa underneath it. So all the cities are represented.
Anything else? Mike, Dr. Desai? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right.
All right, how to do Florida.
All right, I'm going to introduce to you Chad Crawford. He may look familiar to some of you. Local celebrity he is. So.
Well, thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're good? Okay. Well, thank you, committee members, Terry, for getting us on the agenda for today. Yeah, big fan of Citrus County, Crystal River, Discover, whatever you want to call it. Big fan of that whole area there. Yeah, we wanted to kind of present to you guys something new that we're really excited about. Obviously, most of you know us from How to Do Florida and the many shows that we've produced. But we want to share something with you that we've been working on. And so I'm just going to kind of jump right in and share my screen here, if I can. Deny that. Okay. Share.
I love technology.
We can see it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Crawford Entertainment, we've been doing this a long time. An Emmy Award-winning entertainment company that's developed and produced Florida program for over 18 years. We have a statewide reputation for producing quality Florida-focused programming. It's really what we do, and that's really all we do. Over 200 episodes, 6 different television series, documentaries, one-off specials that have syndicated nationally. It's really what we built our reputation and our business around. Obviously, this kind of came from me. I'm a third-generation Floridian, love this state. And really made it a mission of mine to share the world, the Florida that I love, right? I've often called a Florida ambassador. We just picked up another Emmy. We won 5 Emmy Award. I'm a 5 Emmy Award-winning producer and director. Produced content for a lot of different networks throughout my career, and just love what I do, and have in the process developed an incredible team that helps us pull all this off. I own the company with my wife, and we do a lot of the content together. I also involve my kids at sometimes when they will allow it. They're getting kind of old for that, though. It's kind of hard to track them down. Branded content is what we do. It's what we've kind of built the company around. Our heart and soul is developing and producing and distributing branded content. There's not a lot of companies. In fact, I don't know if there's any companies in this state that specifically do this. You have a lot of companies that do corporate video, and they'll dabble in this world, but we exclusively focus on this, where we identify a brand, we produce a television show around it, and we distribute that content. And that's what we've been doing for the last 18 years. We've worked with almost every major org, brand, TV station in the state and beyond, and have, you know, what I would say a very good reputation for delivering on what we say. You know, a lot of people will say they're going to do something and don't do it. And we say we're going to do something, we do it. And we've built our reputation around that.
Hey, Chad.
We've had a lot of past.
Excuse me, may I
Yes.
interrupt? Are you intentionally showing your Google Drive files? Or you have a different
Oh, no.
screen?
Oh, yeah. It's not right. So you guys haven't seen any of this?
No.
Nope.
It's like, wow. We can see your screen,
This
but I
has been
think
a
it's the
very-
wrong one.
This has been a very boring presentation for you, hasn't it? Hold on a sec here.
You talk, Will.
Okay, where's the,
Go up there.
yeah, right there. Share screen.
One of those five.
Oh, there we go. So that's that. Share screen.
Just have to give you a
Stop.
hard time.
Okay, cooperation with Google Drive.
No. Don't show my inbox.
Oh, Windows, here we go. Entire screen. There we go.
God, yes, I hate.
Is that more better?
I'm not seeing, just seeing everybody on the call.
Is that the same? Is that better?
We're just seeing everybody that's on the call right now.
We're not seeing.
We're not seeing
screen.
your screen.
Oh, that's because I'm not sharing. Share.
But we were all envisioning your wildlife corridor specials and it made us all, you know, warm and fuzzy.
Keynote. Ooh, there we go. All right. How about now?
Yep, no.
No.
What the heck? I'm hitting share screen.
So is this one of the outtakes for the end of an episode?
It should be, it better be.
Keep in mind, he's an Emmy Award-winning producer and director.
Not a,
Well played, Terry, well played.
I've known him a while, I can tease him.
I mean, it should go like right there, right? So what are you guys seeing right now?
Just everybody at
You
the meeting.
People.
and half a Katie.
Half a Katie. All right, share screen.
We're Zoom people.
Okay.
We get so scared when Teams is involved. We have. Why does it say keynote and then it's not?
I'm
letting you
feeling his
share?
pain. I've had these moments on
I
the
don't know,
Zoom call.
I'm
Entire
sorry.
screen. I'm gonna share the entire screen. Share.
We need permission. We need permission to share your screen.
One
Just
episode
asking
of
for
124 to 2024.
Oh, somebody, she's in there working it. Hang on, we have our tech guru working on our end to help you out too.
Share
Share.
with content. And what do we do?
Window. Share entire screen. Share. Stay in the turn on desktop.
No, I can't do that. There's literally no other way we could do it. We tried everything. Hold on.
Yeah. Hey, Terry,
Yeah,
what do you want to do? You want me to just kind of just
yeah,
go
why
forward
don't you
here?
just keep talking and we'll visualize.
Okay.
We'll all put on our imagination
Okay.
caps.
Okay, well, some of the past productions, we've worked with you guys. We produced 2 How to Do Florida episodes in your county. We've done a social media campaign right after Hurricane Irma. You guys recently provided some production support for us for our new TV series, Protect Our Paradise, where we featured sea and shoreline and all the restoration going around Kings Bay. That aired broadcast stations throughout the state, is now on our Discover Florida channel. And that's really what we're kind of wanting to talk to you today about is our Discover Florida channel. This is a niche streaming channel that will launch spring of 2024. And we're basically taking everything that we've done over the last 15 years and bringing it together into one streaming channel. Obviously, this will be streaming internet, so it's global. And we're really excited about this just because as more viewers come off of broadcast and somewhat, cut the cord, where more consumers want streaming content on demand, we're meeting that and we're putting all of our eggs in this basket, so to speak. So we're not going to do any more broadcast on cable or television or national syndication. It will all go onto the streaming channel here. So look, this channel centers around the most traveled to and talked about geographic location on the planet. And that's the state that we live in right now. This massive market, wild characters, and worldwide appeal present the opportunity for significant growth for the Discover Florida channel. Of course, this will be just like a small Netflix, right? So if you think about Netflix, it's available everywhere. Your web browser, your TV, your phone, your tablet, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, pretty much any way consumers access long form content, we'll have it available for that. And so, our target audience is going to be active Floridians, people planning a theme park vacation, moving to retire here, driving or flying to Florida, female residents looking for ideas to do with the family, international tourists planning a vacation, have a relative who lives in Florida, snowbirds moving to Florida. We estimate an active audience of over 500 million across the world with an active interest in Florida. It's hard pressed to find somebody, in a civilized world that hasn't heard of Florida, who doesn't know somebody who's been to Florida, who doesn't have some kind of knowledge or interest in Florida. And this is our audience. So we launched this channel 2 years ago as kind of a beta test. And currently it's being viewed in 32 different countries. We average 65 new subscribers a day. We have over 150 channel subscribers. Our social media following is about 150,000. And right now there's north of 120 hours of content on the channel. And we're going to be adding a whole lot more here in April. What did I say? Yeah, 150,000 subscribers. Sorry, not 150. Can you guys at least hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have an email list of about 25,000. This is, and a part of this process for us is to reach out and to partner with what we're calling production partners. This is a program that allows brands and visitors bureaus and not-for-profit agencies to get global exposure and access to the channel's premium Florida-focused audience. And that's really kind of what we're here today. Some of our past production partners visit Fort Lauderdale, obviously discover Crystal River, Naples, Marco Island, the Florida Keys, Tampa Bay, New Smyrna Beach, Gainesville. I could go on and on, Lake County, Fort Pierce. And really we're coming to Crystal River today to ask to be a production partner for content around your area that will be on the channel. This is a quick snapshot of some of the lineup of content. Obviously, we're doing more How to Do Floridas. We're doing a show called Brewing Florida, which will kind of look at, Florida is the brewery capital of the Southeast. There's more breweries in Florida than any other state besides Texas. So we're going to highlight that scene in Florida and specifically Citrus County. Beaches, bars, and bungalows. This is kind of our coastal show. This will be on the channel as well. Saltwater Cowboys is our deadliest catch. This will be about commercial fishing here in Florida, working waterfront throughout the state. We have a show called Molly's Coast, which is really kind of a Florida Martha Stewart's, if you will, crafts, coastal living. Lots of different shows. We're going to launch 5 different TV shows on the channel. And then we're also going to have license a lot of content on the channel as well. Once the programs stay on the channel for a while, they'll have an afterlife in what's called the FAST channel world. FAST is an acronym. It means free ad-supported television. And this will generate additional viewing. It'll go on platforms like Pluto, Roku, and Tubi. These are platforms that, really television has gone through these transitions, right? Everybody wanted on demand, and that's what you have. Or there's a big trend for television, how we remember it, which is just live programming. What's on is what's on. You have no control over it. So these have become very popular. They're full of ads, but it's free and it's just kind of mindless. You don't have to pick what's on. It's what's on is on. And these have become really popular and get a lot of viewership. So that's really it. Terry, do you want me to go into some of the numbers and some of the things that we proposed in the proposal? Is that appropriate here, or is this more just kind of an overview?
Yeah, just what the ROI on the package is and what you're presenting with that.
Yeah. So basically what we're presenting is 1 episode of How to Do Florida is $12.5, and then 2 segments of the Brewing Florida show is $12.5, and then a commercial that would run throughout the channel is $4,000 for a year, and so that total is $29,000. So that's what we're presenting today, and again, this is kind of a new thing. This is launching in April. This is something that we're raising money for. And we're investing a lot in marketing and driving traffic to the channel. Now, understand there is going to be a membership fee to watch content on the channel. We are trying to create a niche premium Florida audience, people who love Florida, who are pro Florida, who visit here, who live here, who love this state, and who want to invest in quality Florida family programming. And that's what we're creating here. This is not going to be a giant reach out of the gate. Again, we have 150,000 subscribers watching a lot of content, but that's what we're creating, and we're hoping to build it every year, and would love to have Crystal River, as one of our startup partners to kind of help us build this. We've brought these prices way, way down just to make this entry level, hopefully kind of a no-brainer. For the amount of quality, you guys know our work and the amount of quality content you're going to get out of this. But we have a package that Terry has that goes into much more detail about social media content and other things that the county will get out of this investment. But, my hope is in the next year or two, everybody will know about this channel. Again, you're going to be driving down I-4 and you're going to see this billboard. This is going to be something that I want people to talk about and know about, and to be telling their friends about, that there's a lot of great programming on this channel. And it's inspiring. It's teaching people about Florida, how to help Florida, how to protect Florida. But it's also just wildly entertaining because we have wild and crazy characters, entertaining people here in this state. And I've spent the last 18 years meeting them, and now I'm going to put them on television. So we're all pretty excited about this new venture for us. And again, would love to have Citrus County on board to kind of help us get this off the ground.
Chad, just because my time is short, I want to get a couple of questions out. How old is How to Do Florida?
Oh gosh, how old am I? It's 13 years, so it's had 13 seasons, over 125 episodes.
How old is Discover Florida channel?
3.5 years it's been up.
And do you know what the breakdown is between Florida residents, United States, non-Florida, and international of the 145, 150,000?
I would say 100 out of the 150,000, 65 of them are residents.
65,000 are Florida residents?
I'm sorry, 65% are Florida residents.
Okay, 65% Florida residents, okay. I mean, we do get a lot of drive traffic here. These aren't deal breaker kind of questions. I'm just trying to understand the landscape. And then the other thing, I poured over the adult drink. That's a great name. And it sounds like a really cool program, but I feel like we're getting way more value in the How to Do Florida, both in the deliverables and the how appropriate the theme is for what we have to offer in this county. But I'd like to, normally as the chair, I hang back and let the board go first. I'm being a little off here because I have to leave early. So would anybody else like to ask any questions or make comments on that?
I think this ties in well with what Visit Florida is doing, promoting the outdoors and nature, especially the How to Do Florida. Adventure tourism, experiencing the area like a local. So I think the How to Do Florida, certainly ties in well with the Visit Florida direction and what we want to promote here. The adult drink, I know we've got one brewery in the area, and I think we have 2 distilleries about to open. One in Homosassa, and I think one more on the east side. So, that's a growing theme here. And apparently we scored well on the drinking in Florida metric.
Please don't go there.
But anyway, so I think it matches well with what the county's got going on, as well as direction from Visit Florida.
Yeah, I really like the first one. The second one, we might be a little not ready for that. But
I think,
staff, yes?
yeah, I think we are. We got 2 breweries.
Okay.
And there's 2 distilleries by the time we get ready to shoot anything with that. I mean, we don't have to be, we are going to be a huge part of it. We're going to be a segment within that episode. So I think we've got enough to have
I read
a good
it all
segment.
in detail, but the deliverables on the first one seems to be a lot greater in terms of time on screen
Right.
and everything for the price. That's all.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a market difference in deliverables. That was my larger point, but.
I also think that there's you tap in well to the strong fears of long-term and native Floridians that it's time to decide what we can protect and what we can save and highlight what that is. That last series you did was really beautiful. And I know I forwarded a lot of folks and got good comments on it. So that's an important thing to be associated with.
Thank you.
And I like the adult drink. I do. No,
Says the owner of the Cove.
well, a lot of our guests, one of their first questions is about breweries, local breweries. So I mean, we do
Nine
have
State
people
and so
coming
forth,
here,
yeah.
and it can be a stop off. I like it. I like both of them.
How many of your current 150,000 subscribers are currently paid versus not paid?
None. So right now, everybody's watching content for free. So starting in April, we will offer a considerable discount to all of our existing subscribers. And of course, we're going to be adding probably another 75 hours of content. So, even the current viewer is going to see a tremendous amount of new content that, look, our hope is that they see value in this and they see value enough to want to pay for it. And that's going to be our business model is, that kind of membership model, not a subscription, but a membership, asking people to be a part of something special. And, that's going to be the ask. So the viewership, we don't know what the viewership is going to be. We're spending north of $100,000 on marketing and advertising, driving people to the channel and, across the state. So, these shows that we're producing now will be our premier shows that will be on billboards, that will be in some of our upfront advertising, driving people to the channel.
And do you totally abandon the traditional methods of consuming your video product now?
Except for PBS, because we have a lot of long-standing contracts with them, especially with our yard show, Flip My Florida Yard, that we do with the Department of Environmental Protection. But beyond that, yes. So right now, to be honest, the last 5 years has been very fragmented. Television is all over the place, right? And so this is our effort to really sharpen the spear and to make everything point in this one direction. And, every day I have somebody ask me where to watch, how to do Florida. And this is where I point them and they're like, oh my gosh, it's all here. So that's our pivot. That's what we're transitioning to. And we're, like I said earlier, we're kind of putting all our eggs in that basket.
How much freedom does Discover Crystal River have to use your content at their decision?
So you mean the content that we produce?
Correct.
You mean like if you guys have the rights to the show and use the show?
Correct. Or parts of it, or
You got-
photos, or snippets, or whatever.
Correct. So part of that package are photos, social media assets, trailers, segments, a lot of different elements, just not the full episode.
Thank you.
Anything further? What are you looking for? A vote on this?
I'll make a motion that we approve the $29,000 to do the full package with Discover Florida.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Mike Engels, second by Jackie Hepner. We don't do open to the public, right? On each individual item, correct? Too many boards.
Where's it getting funded?
I'm only
from?
on 6 boards. It's tough. Pardon?
Where's it getting funded? Is it a special project?
Through special projects. Any board discussion?
That's a good idea.
It's a good fit.
Okay. Seeing that,
I think it's a
I
good,
said I love it.
I heard you.
I'm very
Everybody heard
excited
you.
about this. so.
I think it's a good fit, and I love it too, and I watch his channel all the time, but I would love to see us get to the point where we don't make decisions the same day. We do some background checking and compare other possibles, and most important, see how it fits into the budget that we have. But if we're comfortable that there's money in the special projects, it seems like a good $29,000.
I think that background stuff's all being done by those people that bring it to us. They've already done all that.
Yeah.
Compared to others, done the
We've already done
research
all
and
that. We have
homework.
almost
1.9 million.
$2 million in special projects, so there's money there.
Okay,
thank you.
We
Any other comments?
when we bring it vetted.
I, in terms of the quality and where it fits, I know that, but I want to have a better picture on dollars too. So when you
Okay.
tell us that number to work with, yeah, 29,000, no
Fine.
brainer.
I think with one notable recent exception, I have experienced a lot of vetting from the team before it brings it to us. So I ask a lot of pointed questions, but because I know the backside of stuff. But the last meeting, we had one that shouldn't have gotten through. But I think this is a good one. Pardon?
Said it can happen.
It can happen. So that's also what we're here for, right?
Yep.
To be the backstop. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And with that, Mr. Engels, you are.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Thank you, committee members. Thank you. Thank you, Terry.
Next up is Great Outdoors. Terry, is there any more introduction to that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. This is a follow-up to the presentation that occurred in November for this episodal.
Now, are they online or are they
Yeah.
here this time?
Yep, upper left corner.
Oh, sorry.
Come on and introduce yourself.
Mike, may I ask one?
Good morning. I'm Tobiah,
Yeah.
president of Great Days Outdoors. I've got my partner here, Butch Theory, sitting with me. We're actually in the.
Hang on one
You'll have to
second.
forgive me.
Hold that
Yeah,
thought.
See that.
One pause, sorry.
I just want to ask one last procedural question. Is Miles looking at these special projects too besides staff?
Mhm.
Okay. As long as both teams are on board, then there's a pretty good fail safe there. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, continue.
Well, thanks. Good to meet with y'all again. Like I said, I'll apologize for the camouflage. We're actually in a cow pasture in Wyoming on location right now, promoting Southeast Wyoming, and they're goose hunting here. And today, we talked last time about the Osceola turkey hunting that's available in the south part of Florida. And we're really excited about that. I said we're all big hunters here, and that's something that people definitely travel a lot for. That's one more unique thing that your county has and South Florida has that brings turkey hunters from around the world. They have to come to this part of Florida to be able to complete their slam. But last time we talked, I know y'all wanted a little bit more background information on the opportunity, the possibility of folks coming to Citrus County and being able to do this. So I'm going to attempt a share here. I know that we sent this over. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to see this and look at this and ask some questions. But really wanted to talk about public and private opportunity. Is this coming through okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I know one of the concerns you guys had was just on the public and private availability. So we kind of wanted to dig in a little bit deeper on this with you guys. On the public side of things, you have 3 wildlife management areas there with a total of 75 permits. So that is one opportunity, and part of profiling this hunting opportunity is making people aware of both the public and the private opportunity. So if somebody can get a draw, they are able to come and hunt public ground, and there's a lot of it, and they can do that. But if they are unable to make that draw, there's also a ton of private ground, and being able to highlight those private land opportunities. And there's a couple of ways that folks can do that. One is through outfitters. There's a number of outfitters in the area, and probably even more. This is not an exhaustive list by any means, but it is just a few of the ones that we found. And part of creating this content will be putting together all these opportunities. Just like this hunt that we're on right now, when we come, to Southeast Wyoming, you got to figure it all out. You got to know how to get land accessible. You got to know where to stay. You got to know where to eat. You got to know where to get your tags and your licenses. You got to go to the grocery store and get your groceries and buy ammunition and buy things you've forgotten. And there's a great opportunity for that, and folks will be spending money in that local economy. The other side of private ground is there are outfitters that you can go with. There's also another interesting company out there called Trips for Trade. And what Trips for Trade does is they provide a platform for private landowners to offer up their land for hunting and fishing opportunities and land and boats and things of that nature in trade for going other places. So just like we're sitting here in Wyoming and talking to the folks out here that are Western outdoorsmen, a lot of them dream of coming to Florida and taking an alligator or an Osceola turkey and or a wild hog, things that they don't have here in this part of the world. They want to come to our area just like we want to go to Wyoming and do the things out here that we're doing. Y'all had some questions about prior year harvest. Those numbers are really only available for public lands. They're not available on private lands. And the majority of your harvest of really any game animals in the Southeast are going to occur on private land. And really, we don't feel there's a real correlation to that and economic impact. Just like we're here in Wyoming spending money in this local economy, it doesn't matter if we're successful or not. We're still going to come here, eat, drink, stay, and do all the things that you do when you visit a place. Y'all had some questions about season dates. February 24th through April 7th are your opportunities there, and I think that aligns with some of those kind of that slower season that you guys were wanting to promote. And then we include some data here on the economic impact of hunting in Florida. So you can look a little bit more into that. Some of those studies are older, so I would imagine the impact's even greater now. But the reality of it is that spring turkey hunting is a big deal for turkey hunters. That's just one aspect of this proposal, and people travel every year to complete their slam and do this as part of this really passionate group of people. One of some of the other things we looked at, and just kind of review this a little bit, was not only the turkey hunting opportunity. You really look into the amount of people that are interested in the Osceola turkey. That's very evident here. This is just some search engine marketing analysis, but also looking at the other ideas here. Snook being a big draw for people. Again, most parts of the country you can't catch snook. It's kind of a thing that's really only South Florida, very, very South Texas, and then you got to go out of the country to do it. Another fishing resorts. Fishing resorts also have a big interest online. People looking for places to go and spend time, and that's really what we try to highlight whenever we focus on these hunting and fishing opportunities. Is not just, like we're sitting out here and it's me and a bunch of dudes. We did not bring our wives or anything like that. But when we focus on these opportunities, how do you get your family involved? What else is there to do beyond the hunting, so that if your spouse is not a big hunter or not a big angler, they're still going to be able to have a good time. And being a guy who's traveled to Citrus County my whole life, there's so much to do. Obviously, we're going to be able to highlight a lot more than just the hunting and fishing opportunities. But that was just a little bit of the background on Osceolas as a whole. If we need to review anything we looked at last time, I'll just say, happy to answer any questions or anything like that, or go into any more detail if you guys need us to.
Right, thank you. Board, any questions?
Welcome.
No questions?
Comment.
Or comment?
Comment, I always think we're a little overinvested in manatees and scallops. And I think hunting, development of outfitters, giving our outfitters an incentive and a way to make money should be an important part of our economic development. And in terms of diversifying all over the county, this will bring folks to the east side and to the less than busy corners of the county. So I think it's a good investment of $13K.
I'm still hesitant, but I do think it's something new, and nothing ventured, nothing gained. I just didn't. How are these? Maybe I didn't catch it. The outfitters that you've listed, are they Citrus County or are they from other places?
Everything we listed from what we were able to identify in our research is these folks are operating in Citrus County in some capacity. Some of those outfitters may stretch their available lands outside of Citrus, but they all have a Citrus County representation.
I just got a question. I already know the answer. It's just I've heard some comments, after the last meeting when we discussed this. And again, I know what the answer is, but I just want to hear here publicly. So we're bringing more people in to hunt turkeys, basically. Are we at risk of overhunting these turkeys? And is there an agency that's out there that's a backstop that protects us from doing that?
Yes, absolutely. The FWC sets your regulations on both private and public lands. Limits 2 birds per person. I can tell you they're a frustrating bird to hunt, so you're probably not going to get that many. But yeah, everything is set by your state wildlife agency based on research as to what is the sustainable harvest number. So I don't think that's anything you have to worry about. And if it's something that you want the public to know about, that's certainly an angle that we take a lot of times with our editorial, is talking about the background of the species, going and having a meeting with FWC and asking them these questions, like how are Osceolas doing? What's the health of the species? And the same thing on the hunting side, or the fishing side rather, is looking into how is the snook population doing? You think back to, gosh, it was probably 12, 13 years ago when we had that major freeze and snook populations were dwindling. FWC did a great job of bringing them back. But we focus on that a lot. We work with a lot of conservation organizations like CCA, National Wild Turkey Federation, and really get their input into our editorial a lot of times to shine a light on what's being done for the species so that these are sustainable harvests.
Thank you.
If there's anybody else, I've reached out to one of the outfitters on my own. I happen to know him. And the questions I got, what I got back was, in my opinion, duck hunting would be a better focus than turkey hunting, and more focus on fishing would help local businesses. And then you went on to say, I'm big into hunting, as you know, but our area just doesn't have enough of it to make this a worthwhile investment. That was from one of the outfitters listed on the brochures. I don't know hunting, so I can't speak to it, which is why I personally reached out. The other thing is 125 permits, $13,000. That's costing us about $100 a person to go out hunting. I'm not sure what the true return on investment is. I think overall economy it's there, but not necessarily from a direct tourism at $100 a person investment. So that's me. If there aren't any other questions, then we would move on to a.
This is an unfair question, but Miles is listening. What do you think? Does it fit into the overall content that we're doing, and does it have the reach we need to do it with the investment that? Again, if you don't, no comment is a perfectly good answer at this point. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, I mean, I think I definitely would want to dig into the numbers a little bit more before providing an objective opinion. But I do think from like a niche audience perspective, it is aligned with the audiences that we are talking about targeting. So from an audience perspective, I do think it makes sense. But again, would need to dig into the numbers a little bit to really be able to provide an objective opinion on ROI.
Thank you.
I would just make one point of clarification is that, remember, the wildlife management areas, those 125, that doesn't include the bag limits for private lands. So private lands, it's 2 birds per person per day. So if they spend 7 days, again, nobody who's hunted turkey is going to get 2 birds a day, but there is significant numbers available on private lands, thousands of acres.
Board, what's your, Jackie?
Well, I understand that they have the permits. I don't want to be almost false advertised that people just go, oh, we can go down to Citrus County and hunt turkeys, because you can't get into the wildlife managements without your permit. And they're very limited because of the protection. So if there's like 25 permits and 500 people want to come hunt, we're going to have 375 people going home going, well, that's not fair. I couldn't even get in. I just think educating the people about that it's not just come on and go hunting. There's a lot of restrictions, and my fear is we're going to spend good money to disappoint a lot of people who, not everybody educates themselves before they go somewhere. They're just going to come and it could get ugly. That's just my hesitation.
Hey, how do you want to proceed? Do we want to move to a vote? Do we want to table it and ask Miles to provide us feedback?
That would be better.
So that looks like that's a consensus from the council, is to not take a vote on this. So, it's still open, but to ask Miles to give us some feedback at a later date.
And if I could say just one other thing, just keep in mind that in that proposal you've all got, there's basically 2 proposals in there. There's one with Osceola turkey hunting and one without. And Osceolas were brought to us really. I understand that turkey because I'm an avid turkey hunter, but that was brought to us as an idea just for an opportunity during that slow season. If you wanted to pivot into more fishing resort or a different type of hunting, that's certainly something that we can put together research on to show you, how to position that. And just going back to the concerns about the public land permits, is that that's a big part of this editorial. Whenever you put together a destination piece on hunting, fishing, whatever it may be, that's what we're spelling out, because that right there is a non-starter for a lot of people. If they don't know how to do it and it seems insurmountable, they're going to take the easy route. Vacations and travel are supposed to be fun, and they don't want to have to go through a huge learning curve just to be able to get there. So that's one of the things we do in that editorial, spell out, hey, here are the public opportunities. here are the private opportunities. Here's how to access all these things. And then while you're there, here's a bunch more great stuff to do. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and my one other point, I noticed the dates, February 24 to April 7th. That's prime spring break season.
That's our high season, not our.
That's our high season here for tourism, outside of the first couple weeks of scallop season. So that really doesn't fit our lull period. That actually hits our peak.
Well, what about this second option? Because it hits the dates of March, April, May, June, September, October, which is a little.
Which page are you on, Lillian? I'm sorry.
44, insertion order option 2, 2 articles published in Great Bay Outdoors magazine. They proposed a $20,000 option and then a $13,000 option. And the 20,000 is mainly for the Osceolas, isn't it? Or no? Am I reading that
That would be that was the idea here is basically you've got an option of putting together 3 pieces of editorial or 2 pieces of editorial. And, you know, we give you the option to choose. You know, if you wanted to do everything, we could certainly do that. If you wanted to pick 2 of the 3, you could certainly do that. Or if you want to have us look up a third idea, we're happy to do that as well.
Okay, all right, I misread, sorry.
Okay.
Yep. Any changing guidance? No. Yeah, we'll defer and wait for Miles to give us more feedback and see how it syncs to the bigger picture. So,
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
All right.
Okay. Next up, you know, Mr. Baber in City of Crystal River. So somebody doing the introduction or just turning it over to Doug?
Yeah. Mr. Vice Chair, I'd like to just say a couple things before we get started. So I'll kind of put the ball on a tee and let Doug kick it off and run down the field with it. But I just want to remind the council that, you know, back in earlier this year, I presented a tourism, what I call a tourism mitigation plan to this council. And it was at the request of our chair. And in that plan, what we did was we identified projects that were specifically intended to protect and nurture this golden egg that we're all sitting on. Because I am firsthand watching this beautiful golden egg. It's starting to tarnish, decay, and crack. And if we don't take care of it, we're going to lose it. So the plan that we put together was really in place to, you know, we're doing a really good job marketing Crystal River and Citrus County. And what my presentation was, hey, this is what they're really experiencing what we get there. So we developed a list of projects. And this is really the first project out of the gate that's intended to make sure that the visitors that are coming here are getting the first class experience that we're advertising. So we're basically managing tourism. So I think this is, it's not a real sexy project, but it's very necessary. If you've been out to the Hunter Springs and seen those bathrooms out there, I think we would all be embarrassed to be in there. I promise you. So with that, Doug.
Thank you, sir. Doug Baber, City Manager, City of Crystal River, for the record. I believe you have all heard this presentation. I won't dwell on it a whole lot. I do want to hit some very high points. I think we've been here the last 2 meetings talking a little bit about this Hunter Springs Park enhancement. As Mr. Frank just mentioned, we have a lot of tourism in Crystal River. You guys have spoken about it as we've been sitting here today about multiple different things, Discover Crystal River and things of those nature. If you're not aware, Travel and Leisure Magazine just selected Crystal River as #1 for Three Sister Springs. I've lived in Florida my whole life, and all these are beautiful places in the Sunshine State. We were #1 for Travel and Leisure. We also came out this past week on HGTV as the 50 most charming small towns in America. So Crystal River, as Mr. Frank said, needs to protect its golden eggs. If he wants to speak to it like that, we have multiple golden eggs in Crystal River. One of them is the Hunter Springs Park, and that is home to a place where you can go to see the only free spring in the state of Florida. So you can come in, you don't have to pay anything, you can swim in the water, enjoy the spring, and then leave. Other places you go, you pay fees to get in and do those sorts of things. So this park needs to be supported by our tourism overall as a whole. In 2016, the city put in some bathrooms in Hunter Springs Park. They're very nice bathrooms at the time. However, they've proved to be far underserved, overused, and not enough space for people to use the restrooms there. So they're not destroyed. Mr. Frink has, in previous presentations, has showed what they look like in the peak of the season. I know we've all seen that. I won't show that again. But they get annihilated in a day. And every day we redo them. And just what people are seeing when they come here in Crystal River and they use that park for free, they're not getting the quality time that they should get when they go in there to maybe clean off after swimming or snorkeling or kayaking or things of that nature. So in our proposal, let's see this here. This one. All right, so you see the tourist destination Hunter Springs Barks that I was talking about. This has the beach. Just as an FYI, we had to re-nourish that beach this year after the Hurricane Idalia. We put in 20,000 cubic yards of sand to bring that back to about halfway to where it was prior to Idalia, and we're working towards FEMA to help recover that. I do want to be clear that the money that we're asking for, this $350,000 ask for the bathroom project, is nothing to do where we're double dipping with FEMA funds. So nothing that was destroyed during the storm is going to be used as your money to repair what that storm has caused. Any damages we had to that bathroom will be covered by FEMA, the current bathroom. In your packet, you'll notice there's a $327,000 ask for a 6-bathroom facility that's air conditioning with blower fans to reduce on paper towel trash and things of that nature going into the park area. We will add this bathroom as an additional supplement to the bathrooms that are already there. So with the remaining part and any additional money that the city has to chip in, anything over this ask of $350,000, the city has budgeted the funds to take care of that. We are going to upgrade the bathrooms one way or another that are there to make sure that they are usable for the seasons as we continue to grow. So the remaining part of that 350 would rehab the current existing bathroom, and then some more funds from the city to make sure that those are up to code and so we don't have to have issues with those in the future. You can see this on a busy day. 500 plus visitors an hour attending this park, having a great time. This is just regular when it's warm outside. You know, you see scallop season, it does the same. You guys are all familiar with what you see at Hunter Springs Park. Kayaks are launching there at the park. You know, we have parking lots that are available. We have a lot of our kayak vendors right down the street. Just, you think about 500 people an hour going through that bathroom, and those 4 stalls are just not enough to cover. So we need to increase that. This is the proposed bathroom. It's a 6-stall ADA restroom. It's flood-proof, so in the future we wouldn't have any issues with the 6 foot of storm surge or 7 foot of storm surge that came through Hunter Springs Park during the recent hurricane. We want to make sure it's a marine grade package, AC, hand dryers, as I mentioned, motion control lights to control the cost of electricity. We do maintain this. The city employees and the park rangers clean this on a daily basis. And as you know, you can go in there 1 minute it's clean and 2 minutes later it's dirty. So it requires a lot of effort and upkeep, just like all the rest of them in the cities throughout Citrus County. So the drinking water fountain will help us with throwaway stuff. So people refill their water bottles there. It's just going to be a nice improvement. We'll make it a little bit prettier, maybe. This looks more industrial, but this is just to show you that what comes in, it's a prefab building. We're not building it. We think we can get this done before the summer season. We want to push as hard as we can to make that happen with your guys' support. If you have any questions, I can answer anything related to the bathrooms. If I've left anything out, Mr. Frank, please feel free to add those in.
Yeah, just the one comment is, you know, so why isn't the city paying for this? We've already paid for a bathroom and it's there. There's just so many tourists come into the city of Crystal River and they bring in a tremendous amount of money. You know, they're spending money in our businesses and our restaurants and whatnot, but they leave very little tax money for us. The only tax money that's coming in from tourism is just a little bit of sales tax that we get, and it's not even enough to talk about. And then what ends up at this table. So that's what we're asking for, is to use some of that money just to help the city of Crystal River give this world-class experience.
Any other questions from
Yeah, questions or comments on the board?
I'm concerned about setting the precedent, because to me, this comes under your infrastructure. When we redid our parks, we expanded and did bathrooms. We eliminated paper towels and put in the blowers so that we didn't have the litter. And tourists use all of our parks. And I just think, and I'm not sure about the precedent we're setting, because I mean, we could decide next year, well, we want $350,000 for new bathrooms. I'm just afraid it's kind of, I see where you're going, but I also see where it could also go off the rails as far as different things that have been asked for, we have been set aside because it was precedent setting. So what makes this different?
Sure, I can add a little bit to that. I appreciate the question, and maybe Councilmember Frank wants to add as well. But as I mentioned, this is a free park for you to go snorkel, kayak, all those things. People come up from
Ours
all
are
different
free.
ways. We could start to charge for that park experience. We can eliminate the kayak launch from there. We can double the charge to there. That'll reduce the number of visitors that are going to come as an overall, and we think that that will stymie that. We want to make sure we continue to protect it. We put in a bathroom that's adequate at the time. We definitely need to add another one, but we're looking for the support of the Tourist Development Council that continues to drive people, like the marketing people that you just had on TV, that keeps driving people to here. And as I stated, Leisure and Travel says it's one of the number one places. It's the number one place to go. You know, it's over Disney World for the lights and Christmas time. It's over Art Deco District in Miami. They're coming here to see these manatees. And if you've been out there lately this week, I mean, they're everywhere. So people are coming in droves, and they're using that park to get to those people. We'd like to avoid increasing a charge to that park. It's the last free spring in the state of Florida, and I think that drives people here to Crystal River, so I hope you guys can recognize that need.
And the city we are doing what we can to bring in money from the tourists. So we instituted a kayak vendor program. So we do get $5 a launch. I think we're collecting $250,000 a year, and that money's programmed to go back into that kayak launch facility. But again, that's a city park that the city residents really don't have access to anymore.
And that money's only for the launch. So should the ramp break down, or should we need a new pay station, some things of those nature, that covers that. So we're maintaining those type of things, but the bathrooms are an amenity, and they're much needed, and they're far undersized right now.
Yeah, we've done the math. For every one city resident, we've got about 300 tourists coming in. So, and it's just the money is not there to support them.
And I guess that's fair. And predating your time on council and you as city manager, so going back to that 2015-16 time when the city first took over running the trolley, one of my fears and comments then was, if the city buys trolleys and starts running it after a couple of private entities that run it, the city was now becoming a tourism entity. And I think it's moved to that point, and with the addition of Hunter Spring Park as a trolley stop, it's further put Hunter Spring Park on the map for tourists versus a local park. So there's a bit of a dichotomy. Is a city park for city residents, or is it a tourism attraction? And I guess I kind of hear it both ways a little bit, in the paper and in the community. Obviously, the locals want it to be a city park and not have tourists, but we're running tourists there and dropping them off, and it literally putting it on the map as a tourist destination.
Yeah.
So, there's a dichotomy, and I personally kind of agree with Jackie on the precedent. I mean, the Homosassa River, projects and Save Crystal River, help with the infrastructure, and the sustainment. And it's, it's a tough rub on what are we doing to protect what's here versus getting more here. And right now, we're not getting more here, we're getting less here. So, anyway,
Can I just answer the precedents? The precedent, Doug had mentioned the precedents. This is the only spring in the state of Florida where you can publicly swim in a spring with a manatee for free. There's nowhere else in this entire state. So that is drawing people here. This is before my time and Doug's time as the city managers, but our Waterfronts Advisory Board, they did a study, and this is prior to this really influx. And one out of every, I think it's 10% of the visitors to that park were city residents. 90% were coming from elsewhere.
yeah, and that study's, I know that
You
was.
were there. You were there.
No, that was before I was even on
Really?
the Waterfronts board. So it's probably going back,
I'll be flat out. I said the city cannot afford to do this. The city cannot afford the upgrades on our own to like our kayak launches. And I think we're at a tipping point here where we're going to start projecting and providing an experience that's not going to be comfortable for all of us.
Well, first of all, I agree with Jackie, what you're saying about the precedent. And as an Inverness resident, there's only 7,700 taxpayers in the city, and we paid $12 million for that park. But the simple truth is, we should have a strategic plan. It should include bathrooms everywhere if tourism is part of it. Some of our boat ramps are disgraceful. It's a very bad representation of how we see tourism and sanitary behavior. It has an element of sexism to it, on how it affects people doing things, and we need to deal with that. So I think it's setting a precedent, but I don't think it's a bad precedent. I do think it shows why Jackie and Mr. Williams came a year ago and said, you've got to start helping us with some of the infrastructure problems in the city. Because again, with 7,700 residents and 30,000 residents in the Inverness Post Office alone, and all the visitors that come from the villages every single week now, there's a burden that keeps getting more on the taxpayers we have here that they get little return on. But we need to protect this investment because it's an essential part of the overall economic development. And finally, we do have money. So if we started setting a priority and went around and this is the most urgent one I've seen, deal with it. Maybe there's a way to deal with it in increments and do some now and some next year, but also to look at some of the other places where we have boat ramps, those that draw in people to scallop, that draw in people because they can get to fishing and at least meet the standards of the rest of the counties in this state.
A question for Dr. or Michael. Predating me on the board, has the board ever funded a project 100%, or has it typically been a match?
If I remember, it's mostly been matches.
Yes.
We might do seed money for the bigger projects, but it was never 100% match.
I would say prior to that, because I've been involved with this since the 90s, and yeah, there has been many projects that were funded 100%. I know there's a dredging project out in near Divers Hole out of King Spring that was funded 100% from this group.
Okay.
So yes, it is doable.
Okay, yeah, and that's why I was looking at it from precedent in that regard as well.
It's back in the Gary Madoff days. I mean, this is way back. But.
Mr. Chair, 977,400 visitors are coming here a year to see this tourism. And they're coming and they're going to that restroom in that facility, and we cannot continue to let it look like what it looks like. I think we're all stewards of that facility by being part of either the tourism boards, the cities, the county, things of that nature. So I can't urge you enough the importance of ensuring that we get this to move forward. I mean, it's paramount for us.
And as far as a subsidy or match from the city, that's why Doug, he said, hey, let's use what the city's already paid for. So that is somewhat of an in-kind match. I mean, half of it's already been built through city funds. So
anything over and above the $350,000, I'm not coming back and asking for supplements. We'll be covering that ourselves. I mean, we're talking about hookups, running water lines, sewer lines to get to the electric, to get to this building. There's all those things that have to happen. The city's going to cover that. There is a portion covered by us. Don't forget, we maintain them, year round,
and
open and close.
I'm sorry.
No, sir.
Is this in addition to, will the other facilities remain, or will that be removed?
No, it remains, and we're going to use a little bit of the money that we're asking of the 350 to rehab the current one, to bring it just a little bit, make it nicer. I mean, it's been beat up for 6 years, 7 years, so just enhance the current one.
Capacity of 4 to a capacity of 10.
10, yes, sir.
Any other comments, questions?
To me, like maintaining and everything is the cost of doing business as a city. We did bonds to cover our park and everything, but if we're setting the precedent and this is the way it's going, I'm kind of liking the way that's leaning, because I'm thinking ahead to some projects we can do.
Now you're thinking.
Well, like I said, definitely opening the door.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
opening the door for
Can't beat 'em,
everybody to
join
come in here with a
'em.
handout.
Right.
Looking for a handout.
Michael?
Just from a numbers perspective, are we getting the parking fees? How does it offset? I haven't seen a P&L on this. I mean, I'm a business guy, so I know that city finances and government finances don't necessarily work the same way mine do. I'm looking at, if you hired a $15 an hour person, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to be there for 10 hours a day, that's $50-something thousand a year, which is a lot less than 360. I get it, and I love the fact that Hunter Springs there. On the other side, is it, Frank and Terry, legal? I mean, we build boardwalks for people to come as an attraction. I don't know that we're not going to get people to come to Hunter Springs because they don't think they're going to have nice bathrooms. I mean, getting back to what this board's job is, which is to drive people here. And I get it, I think it's the infrastructure world to make that what it is. I mean, nobody, and I went private practice, nobody gave me a dime so far to put new floors in my hotel to bring people here.
But will,
So
they,
it's
but
just-
will they
there's-
come back is the question.
Will they come back?
Will they come back?
Will they come back? They have
Again.
a core experience.
And what pictures are they putting on Facebook?
Yeah.
Well, again, so if we had a person sitting there 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, going in and cleaning up the mess as the mess is made,
So
is it required to build 6 new bathrooms to do that? And are we gonna have 6 bathrooms that all look like that again because nobody's there to maintain them, and now we can't maintain 1? How are we gonna maintain 6?
There's 2 people there already, 2 park rangers, a park ranger and a maintenance
So
person.
they
to
got
manage it.
fired when they saw those pictures?
It can happen 5 seconds after they
I know,
use
but
it.
if you're there-
I mean, you're in the
If
business,
that's
you
your
understand.
job, that's your job. And if you're out wandering around deciding to look at the manatees and you're not cleaning up after the last messy
was already
tourist,
vetted by
and
you,
why are we the
correct?
last left tourist place that's free? I love the idea personally. I think residents should have a free pass, but if it's a burden on our destination, charge the non-resident people to use the facility.
we can't, there's a deed restriction that prohibits that, or we have to give the park back to the previous owner.
I thought that was only, I mean, without getting,
Yeah.
recent, but I
There's a
thought
lot.
it was only Crystal River residents in that original deed
It's
restriction.
there's a deed restriction that there's a certain race that you.
Right,
has
but
to-
I thought it
has
was
to
only
bathe for
Crystal
free.
River residents.
No.
So it's happens to be anybody in
Yeah.
the. right
And Mike, as far as legality, I know when I presented that plan back in June,
I'm assuming it's been vetted.
Holly had asked the question to the previous executive director, and he said there's one project on there, which isn't this, that he didn't think was appropriate. I mean, the bottom line is gonna benefit tourism. If we could use that money to pay for salaries to do that, we would gladly take it. I mean, this city is paying probably $150,000 a year to have law enforcement on the water just to babysit these tourists. I mean, trust me, the city residents know what they're doing out there. So this is solely out there just for tourism. So the city's kind of tapped out with its funds for what we're spending on
So
this.
then again, the business proposition that would be is how does that asset create you an income?
Right.
Which is the charge for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Because I'll tell you, I can't tell you 10 people that come to my resort go to your park. So, the tourists that we're getting are not overnight tourists, they're day trippers, which again is outside of the board's preview as far as spending money for that. Again, with their study, want to have clean bathrooms, want to have a wonderful experience. I just don't know that it's this board's responsibility, maybe ethically, maybe morally, but not ethically. So I would look for counsel more to Jackie's point on, because she's already opening the floodgates for us funding all the parks over in Inverness now. It's like it's already started before we ever did this one.
You have to think of it as more than just a clean bathroom. It's a complement to what you're doing when you come here. It's the ability to use more restrooms and not wait in long. You saw the picture of how many people are in the water. You think about all those people have to have somewhere to go, or they're going to
Most of them are
complain.
doing it right there.
that answers most of the question, but that's a whole separate issue.
Well, we do get the water checked regularly, so this is just a compliment to your overall experience. So I would hope that you guys would think of it as a way to enhance tourism by knowing that they're going to get a quality experience when they do come here. So when you're marketing it and you're begging people to come here year round,
I don't
that
think
they have a
anybody
good
disagrees
experience.
that it's a great asset and it's a wonderful experience. It's the technical aspect is who pays for it.
Okay. We recommend the TDC fund this project in full at $350,000, and I respectfully request your decision.
Frank, how much money's in that fund?
About $846,000 right now in capital projects available.
We take 46% of it to build bathrooms.
When tourism's down. Well, and I guess we've been, as a council, we've been second guessed, if you will, with, 3-4 different proposals that recommendations that we've sent to the BOC have been shot down, some of which we weren't clear on what the return on investment It's been asked here by staff what the return on investment is from activities as well as the public. So what's the return on investment? And this one is very tough. Well, the need is there. No one's arguing that.
No.
But how do we quantify and justify that significant expense and what's that return going to be? And I'm having a hard time getting my head around it.
I don't think the ROI is probably no different than the 250 that this group spent on dredging out some of that basin. I mean, didn't we fund that?
I don't remember it.
I don't remember.
Well,
No.
oh, you for Safe Crystal River?
Yes.
Oh, that.
Yeah, and even the Homosassa River Restoration Project, and the the same sort of things.
Those were a supplement to what was already being spent on other funding sources.
Right.
Yes.
And it wasn't 100%.
Just like the boardwalk, the river.
Just like the restrooms.
Right.
Just like the manatee,
Board?
museum-y thing next to the WC, or the Fish and Wildlife argument.
Before we go further, would we like to hear if the public has anything to say
Sure.
on this or not?
Absolutely.
If that's agreeable. Is there anybody from, hang loose for a second, Doug. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on this matter before we decide how to move forward? Okay, that's fine. Didn't know if anybody did.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, no, thanks. I just wanted to provide the opportunity. Board, how do you want to proceed?
I don't see how we can do this. It just doesn't make any sense to me. We're flooding Crystal River now with all the advertisement, the branding, the Discover Crystal River, and the whole rest of the county is down there in fine print somewhere. And the rest of the towns aren't in here asking for all the money that we've already supporting the heck out of and putting them on the map, which is great. We put Citrus County on the map, but we are a county. We're not just Discover Crystal River. And I feel like you're really opening a hell of a door. I ain't kidding you.
It's
what's
a door
next?
I don't want to open.
What's next?
Honestly, we
Building
made.
dog parks, or what are we doing next? you know?
Exactly, Mr. President.
Oh, I got promoted.
Mr. Vice President, acting president, ever how you want to term it. When y'all made your presentation back in June, my manager, Eric Williams, and I made a presentation asking for $150,000 for tourist advertising. And we were shot down because we couldn't give hard numbers on how much that the return on investment was going to be there. And it was totally for advertising, not to work on city infrastructure. So I'm having a hard time licking my wounds as we gotta know, and then sitting here and going, over twice what we asked. It's not the same principle is what I'm seeing. So I just think it's apples and oranges. And I don't think we should go there.
Well, let me ask this, and without conferring with Doug, I hate even doing this, but because it's his budget now, but I can see there's some angst, especially because there's no match coming from the city other than what we've already spent out there. Is there some money that we could throw at this that'll?
Absolutely. 75-25, you name it, sir. We can find the money in the budget for our part. If you want us to put 25% of the money up to increase this, I mean, we can do that in the current budget. For Parks and Recreation, we have money that we can do that.
Any other comments or motion? How do you want to proceed, board?
I think you have to ask for a motion, doesn't mean there has to be one.
Correct.
Right.
Well, I'll go out there on a limb and I'll make the motion that this board funds this project at a 75-25 match. And hopefully we can get a second for discussion.
A second for discussion.
Okay. So there's the motion and a second. I don't have my calculator in front of me for whatever 75% of 350K is. But that's the motion in the second. Is there any further discussion on it?
I do have one just procedural question. The backstop of this is the Board of County Commissioners, right? So
Right.
Whatever we do, they ultimately will decide.
We're an advisory board,
Okay.
essentially. So whatever we whatever we suggest goes to them.
Well, I would, since it's really their money, I would ask that this board push this through to the Board of County Commissioners and then let us plead our case to them.
The breaking point, it's like 265, so the city would almost put in 100,000 at 75.25. Is that the math, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 262.
So, I mean, it's a substantial portion for the city to put in to protect our investment and keep the partnership strong between us both. I hope you find that acceptable as an option.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes.
Any other discussion on it? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
2, all opposed?
Nay.
Does this still move forward to the BOCC?
Nope.
No. And my parting comment on this is this is a strong message to the city that we're on our own. It's a very strong message, so, and, you know, we are the caretakers of this egg, and, we don't have the money to pay for it, so. Stop with that.
Okay. Item D5, BCB audit report.
It's for information. If you folks didn't see the commission meeting where the clerk presented, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those. Mainly, you know, there were some findings. We were ahead of it, I believe. We took action beforehand. We've reviewed policies with staff, et cetera. Again, I think we're in a stronger position. We knew the audit was coming. It was regularly scheduled. But I think we're in a lot better position to avoid these findings in the future. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but it's just basically an information piece in your packet.
Okay. Thank you. So Director Media report.
Okay, so as has been discussed a little bit, you know, tourism is down. The state as a whole was down in the first 2 quarters. Quarter 3, the state ticked up a little bit, 1.4%. I don't think that's cause for celebration. And then we're down as well. And Orlando was down 6.4% in October. You know, it's a mixed bag. Some people are saying Florida fatigue. We opened early. People got their Florida vacation because we were open, and then there's some Florida fatigue. I would advise, as I've always said, it's hard to sit here and try to read tea leaves about what's happening. We've got a marketing firm that we're very confident with. We're purchasing the Zartico product. We're going to be able to tell how folks are spending, where they're coming from, things that we've never done before in Citrus County. I sent an email out recently. But cell phone data, credit card information, we're going to try to capture international tourists and domestic tourists, and there's different ways to do that. TransUnion, for example, you know, all your credit card companies, cell phone. I mean, it's a scary world, but Big Brother's out there, and they know where you're going, and they know what you're doing. So, again, I would caution against trying to read tea leaves. You know, it's a mixed bag out there, but we're going to have a good data source. We'll be able to compare market to market, understand what's happening. So I'd say let's just look to the future, and you know, we'll have some good data sets for this board, and we can answer these questions when you pose them to us.
Now, on the products for capturing data, are we waiting on Miles' recommendation, or are they bringing a tool to us? Or?
We've selected the tool with Miles' recommendation, and Zartico will be the product that we look to purchase and start getting our dashboard set up, and basically data will be available at the fingertips.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know anything about the product or what its capabilities are, although it sounds like they're cutting the lawn over upstairs. So, a question on the data. I know Star Reports and other counties have the same issue. Visit Florida has Star Report data. It's at a region level versus a county level, so it's not ideal. But if we pull that to at least get a sense of if our ADR or the ADR for the area is up and we're still down in revenue, we've only got one data point right now, and that's the revenue number that's lagged 6 weeks or better. Have we gotten the regional STAR report data to give us some sense in other data points?
Okay, so the STAR report was an issue with legal, but under this contract with Zartico through Miles, we'll be able to include STAR report as one of the data sources, but there's going to be so many other data sources on short-term rentals, Airbnb. I mean, it's going to go so far beyond STAR report. It's going to be a lot better data set because, again, STAR report was something, but if folks aren't participating in STAR report and has understood it, there weren't very many providers locally that were. This is going to be a data set that includes your short-term rentals, your hotels, your RV parks. So it's going to be a much better data set, and we will include the STAR report if that's important to this board.
Yeah, well, I guess I'd ask that we pull the historical STAR reports for the last several months, and we haven't seen anything, even from Visit Florida. I know we can't do it directly, and it is at a region level, but at least it gives us some insight as to what's going on.
Mike, I did put in for the October STAR report through Visit Florida, and it's a process. And at the time, as of yesterday when I left the office, I had not received that yet.
Okay, no, thanks. And that's all I'm asking. Then we have the data points because I think we're going back to March or April without any data. And I know STAR report and revenue numbers, we're driving looking in the rearview mirror, but we at least have something, to give us, some trends. So, thank you.
Just for what it's worth, too, I mean, we're not the only ones down. I mean, I'm on the board for Camp Florida, Alabama. Our states are both down. A whole state, not just Citrus County. Everything's down right now. And I don't care if it's your dental office or what it is, it's down. So we shouldn't feel like we're just getting the heck beat out of us because it's Citrus County, because it's not just us. This is going on everywhere. It's just the economy going right now.
You would continue with the rest of the report?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, hi. Alyssa Hofeld.
Good news.
Alyssa Hofeld for Discover Crystal River. I never know when I'm going to be on, so sorry about that. I wanted to say a few things before I get started. The gentleman who was here for Bike Fest, I didn't know about Bike Fest, but I will reach out to him. I am more than happy to promote it. We'll have to get him that event on our website under events, and we can do posts, and I can go there and do live feeds, and we can help that event out, so not a problem. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention was, I see here, Eric is here from Mer Taylor Aquarium and Counter, and we have promoted them. They are fantastic. I just want to say I am not a mermaid person, like that's not something I'm into, but I went there for work. I shot video and photos. I also did a live feed with him right after the hurricane to promote the east side of the county. And if you have not been there, I really suggest that you go and take in some of his mermaid shows. They're fantastic. He's also one of the stars of Mer People, which is on Netflix, which has brought a lot of recognition to Citrus County. So they're a fantastic group. Love them. And like I said, I'm not a mermaid person, but I really enjoyed them. It's magical, great for all ages. Anyway, wanted to give you a little plug, Eric. Okay, so we'll go to regular business. So we're looking at our best post for Facebook was a video that I actually shot at Three Sister Springs last year. It's a little baby manatee kind of doing a twirl, very sweet. It says 32.5, but I just checked on my phone and it's over 100,000. It's 104,000 views, so that's doing well. Our fishing page, it's always Captain Tony. He's great, very nice gentleman fisherman. He sends us fishing reports that do quite well. And then for Instagram, I think this was a birds underwater. But can we play that? Is that possible? No, we cannot play that. But it's a fantastic video of a mom and the baby, and they're twirling in the water. It's very sweet. So that did well for us on Instagram. Let's see. I think last month I said that I thought we were going to drop down to number 3, and I was correct. Visit Amelia Island did pass us. They're doing much better monthly in their followers. In the summer, we were getting about 700 or 800 followers a month. Right now, we're getting 200. So we fell behind, and I knew that was going to happen. We got 339 followers this month, which isn't horrible, but we were doing much better earlier in the year. And then, our profile visits were up just a little over 2%. Our account engagement, not terrible, up over 15%. And then our post reach, our new followers on Facebook, those are all down. Our visits are down, and our stories are down. So we're kind of following the path of everything. We're just not doing as well. And of course, that has to do with the hurricane and the tornado, and our little, hump in the road with our department and just everything like that. So we're gonna go to, thank you. We're gonna go to our FAM tours. Terry and I are heading up the FAM tours, and these are familiarization tours for journalists and influencers, and they're very pivotal, I think, in our marketing, because these content creators, they come here, they create great content, they have a lot of followers, and then they go out to their basic fan base and tell their audience how great Citrus County is and how great Crystal River is. And so I'm just going to go over a little bit. So Chris Locke and Julia Thompson. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just had a comment. I was looking at, I don't even know how to say it, Info Via Hera. I had read an article totally unrelated to what we're doing, but it turned out they said the newest surge in high spending and high-end tourism is Argentina coming here. So I'm tickled to see that we're on the cutting edge of bringing in the people that everyone else suddenly wants to come in.
And they have a huge following. I believe it's 23 million a month to their website. Wow. So they're very, very big. Yeah.
Come on.
And they're coming in a couple of weeks. In fact, Terry and I were talking about their trip this morning. So in November, we had Chris Locke and Julia Thompson. They're from Canada. They're a young couple, very, very sweet. They do great content. I actually just posted one of their videos yesterday for Manatee Tuesday. And so they're great. They're going to be providing all of the content that they created. It was really amazing content that they, I saw some of it, very, very great. And then Escape Australia was Terry's, right? Garden and Gun, I was on vacation, that was yours as well. Columbia Media Mission, so last month, Mr. Fleischman, you had a lot of questions about Schulman, Max though, right?
Right.
Okay.
Or Mike.
Okay. So, no, those are, I know who the mics are. Yeah.
He is too.
But you go by Max.
Yes.
No?
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Keeps it simpler, keeps the number of mics down.
Okay, I can't do more Max.
It was like that in grade
Okay.
school, so I started back then.
So you had some questions about Columbia Media Mission. They were here from the 7th to the 10th. I spent a lot of time with them because our new protocol is that if we provide them a meal, then one of us has to be there. So I was with them a lot. And we did have a translator, Maria Fernanda Rojas, who is a liaison to Visit Florida. She was our translator. And so we had 5 journalists, travel writers from Columbia, and then we had 2 liaisons from Visit Florida, Maria and then Aubrey Brown. They were wonderful, very easy to work with. I set up the itinerary. 4 out of the 5 journalists spoke English. from a little bit to very well. And then there was one gentleman, Javier, who did not speak much English, but Maria was always there to translate. He actually interviewed me. He owns 5 newspapers in Colombia, and she translated everything. And then I just wanted to mention Maria, the liaison to Visit Florida for Colombia. She sent a really lovely email to me yesterday morning, thanking us, saying how great the area was, what a wonderful time she had, and on and on. And if it's okay with Frank, I can email this to him and he can send it. I also have a copy, so if anybody wants to read it before, they can keep it. And then I also have, and then we'll go to, so Info Vieira Quilis, sorry. So they're coming at, right after Christmas, and Terry and I were talking about them, about what their itinerary was gonna be. They're staying at the plantation, so they'll have a wonderful time, and they have a lot of followers. I think it's 23 million a month. They have visitors visiting their website. So we're excited to have them. So the next page is just some photos that I took of the Colombians on their tour. They did also stay at the plantation, and they went airboat riding, and they had an amazing time snorkeling with manatees, and we went to Crump's and Amy's and the Homosassa Wildlife Park, and they also had pizza at the Riverside Resort Monkey Bar, and their last night was spent at Wallace's at the Greenhouse. And so I just wanted to show you their happy faces. They had a great time. They were so impressed, and they said, and this is, I'm quoting, that it was life-changing for them.
Wow.
So, and it's in the email. So I just wanted to get back to you because last month I couldn't really answer your questions, and so I wanted to follow up with that.
I do want to tell you that this is a very common thing, but you have Colombian misspelled.
I have who?
Colombia is, the country is spelled C-O-L-O as opposed to you, the way we spell Columbus. So-
Okay, well, we'll fix it.
But it sounds like it went great. And
It did go great. Yes, it did.
Very good, thank you. It sounds
Okay.
like, great job as always. Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I wasn't cutting you off.
yeah, no, it's okay. So this is the Hayworth PR numbers. We're down, like really down, and so I mean, 16 million sounds like a lot, but the last time we had a Hayworth PR impressions number, it was 1.18 billion. Billion with a B.
So
I'm sure.
So we're down 85%.
Yeah, and the engagements, I think those were 60,000. I'd have to get the right numbers, but now we're at 561.
We should
So-
see a quick comeback on that though, because there was a transition where when we went to the new agency of record with Hayward, and so I think we'll see that bounce back up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I do agree with Terry, and we are, like, I can see our, like lately, the last week, every day our numbers go up slightly on Instagram. I mean, and when I say slightly, I'm saying 1,000, an extra 1,000, that sort of thing, so. And hopefully, as manatee season, continues, we'll do better. Frank, can I mention what I emailed you about? Okay, so there's something else that I want to talk about. I got approval from Frank to mention this. So on Monday, I came across an article from the Citrus County Chronicle. I believe you were interviewed, Michael, and it's about the potential troubles that the manatees are having already. We're only not even a month in to manatee season, and there've already been some skinny and malnourished manatees, and then literally like an hour after I saw the article, I came across a fund that Save Crystal River is having. I don't know if you can see this. It's Manatee Munchies, and they're asking for donations to feed the manatees. And so I just wanted to broach this subject because it's disconcerting to me that the manatees could be in trouble because of the hurricane and because of our eelgrass being hurt quite a bit by that hurricane. And so I just wondered, think about this and maybe we can come back and talk about it in January. I think the sooner the better. And what do we do as a tourism department to help the manatees? I mean, the manatees are our livelihood. They're basically our hook to get people here, but they're also precious animals. And I can speak for our department. We love them. We love them regardless of the impact that they have on our economy. And so I have a few, so I have a few suggestions. Do we partner with the plantation? I know the plantation has done fundraisers for Save Crystal River. So I don't know if that's something we could do. I also thought of something that maybe our tour companies donate $1 every time they have a manatee snorkeling tour. Maybe the bigger ones donate $2 or $3 per tour, and the smaller ones $1. But that's going to add up because people come here to swim with the manatees. We are the capital, the manatee capital of the world.
Before we go too far down this path, to my knowledge, there is no feeding program authorized for Citrus County by U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So I'm not positive what that fundraising campaign for, but it is not for immediate feeding of manatees in Citrus County. If we go, those of us that have been here more than me, if we go back 8 years ago, there wasn't much eelgrass inshore during the winters, and the manatees need to swim to the Gulf. So the manatees are going to have to go old school a little bit and swim to the Gulf to be, for feeding. So we're going to see skinnier ones. Ones that are weak heading into the system are going to have a rough winter. But I'm not positive I do not think there's any authorized feeding program for Citrus County unless it's changed since my last meeting with U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So I'm not positive what Save Crystal River's effort is, but it is not for immediate feeding of manatees inshore here.
Well, I can reach out to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and see what they have to say, and I'll reach out to Save Crystal River, and then I'll get back to you guys. I just
Send an email, so what you find out.
Okay,
that'll
I-
save time and.
Yes,
If it
definitely.
is something that we can, if we find out it's, I hate to say legit, but a different word, if we find out it's doable.
Okay.
And, if we already have that information before our next meeting. we
Okay,
can-
and maybe there's nothing to worry about too. I don't know. I'm not in the water. I'm not a manatee, but I did see this. It did worry me, and I wanted to mention it, and that's it. Okay, thank you.
If I could, I would hate to see us ask the businesses to give money. It's one thing to have the businesses ask their clients to donate, but especially when we're having a bad tourist spell, it's the wrong time to ask the businesses to dig into their pockets.
So
Okay, I mean, that's fine too, but without a good manatee population, we don't have a lot of tourism. That's my opinion. So. So-
Fine, good.
Yep. So.
5 in the winter and summer work is a good population.
Well, a couple quick questions for Frank real quick that we're past the meet. Staffing. I know the director position has been posted. I don't know if Jody's position's been posted. So where are we on staffing?
Sure. So HR is scheduling interviews. They started yesterday for the director position. We had a robust turnout, and I think 12 people passed the scrutiny of, referral. So more on that, but probably interviews will start next week. Jody's position was posted internally, and we should have an answer on that probably by the end of this week. And then stay tuned, for other organizational updates, I guess, or, we're still looking at staffing, roles and responsibilities. That was one of the things I did when I took over as interim, was get all staff to look at roles and responsibilities, provide me with that. Because again, job descriptions are somewhat stale, but what you actually do day to day matters. So that's under review. The only other thing I'd say is I'll send a follow-up email about the work group for manatee manners that came up and you had emailed me. I'll just send that update out to everybody just to save time since we've kind of gone long today.
Okay. And then the other one, I know with the city, cohabitating with you, is that impacting visitation, to the visitor center there? Is that having an impact on staff, or are you getting more interruptions because there's more foot traffic? Is that?
The numbers haven't dwindled.
Okay, good.
We're still averaging around 20 to 30 visitors a day. And it's just a smaller space. So it's worked out.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate the update.
I'd like to make a comment. Frank, I want to compliment you on the job description that was in the position description for your tourism director. It was nice to see the addition of some of the professional standards in there. I think that's going to be a good thing.
And if I may interject, to piggyback on Max's comment, I would like to thank you for the job you've done as interim. You've really kind of spoiled us. And I'm sure you're going to be relieved to bring somebody in it's going to be bittersweet for us because you've done an exceptional job, especially being thrown into the deep end of the pool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, good timing. Any other comments from council?
Just more quickly, Inverness, we did our Christmas Light Up Liberty, and we're continuing on with more things to come.
Thank you, Jackie.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
I got one thing too.
Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead, Mike. Okay, tomorrow morning, the FWC is gonna be releasing one of the rehabilitated manatees back into the river at my park.
Oh.
And I was contacted yesterday by Wildlife Nation, one of Jeff Corbin's shows. And they happen to be in the area doing this whole Florida deal right now. So they're gonna be following this manatee after it gets loaded in Tampa, followed back to Citrus County, and they're gonna do all their filming and everything right in my park tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock, Wildlife Nation.
I'm gonna try to do a live feed from you guys.
Great, come on.
Yeah.
Max?
I just want to say one thing, not to go back to the issue of the restrooms, but we need to deal with the issue. Not, the funding is one side, whether there's a way to help them get bonding. I will tell you, I'm on the board of the Withlacoochee State Trail. Restrooms is a problem for us, and we have a thing called Friends of the Withlacoochee State Trail. We raise money primarily with our bike ride every year, and we just spent a chunk of that upgrading 4 of our restrooms. So there is also a citizen part that needs to be happening more on all things tourism, especially those things that are dual use between the local communities. And it is a matter of pride for our county, and it needs to be addressed because it really is not acceptable. So I suspect that the county commissioners will have a discussion about it, whether or not it's in the exact same venue we were discussing earlier.
And I was going to echo that as well. I mean, it's not a matter that we don't need it. It's a matter of where does the funding come from. And, in my mind, I think that, Citrus County, that one of their cities is Crystal River. So it's like, it's a county issue as well as a city issue. And I don't know what the legalities are there, but I fully support that we need a better environment there. I just don't know, to Jackie's point, everybody else's, where the money should come from as it relates to the TDC. So I would support fully and wholly what we need to do to try to get some bonding or county money or whatever. It'd be nice for the city to have stuck around to listen to some of this. Would have been nice for the city to have stuck around to listen to some of this. But, guess you don't get what you want, you take your toys and go home.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, I was just
stretching.
That was it.
Okay, open to the public. So anybody want to speak from the public? Gloria? Yeah, you have to come up and you have to say your name.
I'm still Gloria Wickus, and I just wanted to speak to the health of manatees a little bit. So I've been studying them for just about 10 years, And by all estimates, we do have the healthiest manatees on the planet currently. And the skinny animals that are in our bay right now really have come in thin. When a manatee's skinny, it's lost muscle mass, not weight, not fat. So they're actually doing really well. We're all working together to monitor those guys and help them when they can. The campaign that Save Crystal River has is just a catchy way for people to donate to their restoration project. So they're indirectly feeding manatee with the restoration project.
Oh, okay, with
Yeah,
wheelgrass
they're
planted.
not giving them,
Okay.
giving them
Wheelgrass.
kale, yeah. And you know, these guys have been coming here for 40,000 years. We've only had the restoration project for 4. So they're like, okay, we got this.
That's good to know because then I won't be so upset.
Yeah, yeah. There's plenty of things to get upset over with manatees. What I'd like to see for manatee safety is more enforcement on the waterway. Limit people, make them pay, and give out tickets. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Not seeing any. Our next meeting is Wednesday, January 10th at 9, right here. So second Wednesday. I suspect we'll be getting a new representative from Crystal River at some point, since Mr. Frank announced that he will not be running in the March election. So
I believe he'll be on the board probably until then.
yeah, so at some point over the next year, there'll be a new representative from Crystal River. But other than that, is there a motion to adjourn from anybody?
So moved.
Second. You can figure out who was first and second on that, because I can't.
Jackie, and then just put Mike at the other side.
Yeah, Mike and Mike.
And
Pick one.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Didn't think so.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
y'all.
Christmas,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas.
Thank you. I appreciate your attendance,
See-
everybody.
Terry and I are.